Okay, translation of that. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditional life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness but act through a false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Purport. A person in full Krishna consciousness is not unduly anxious to execute the duties of his existence. The foolish cannot understand this great freedom from all anxiety. For one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend. He always looks after his friend's comfort, and he gives himself to his friend, who is so devotedly engaged, working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. Therefore, no one should be carried away by the false ego of the bodily concept of life. One should not falsely think himself independent of the laws of material nature or free to act. He is already under strict material laws. But as soon as he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is liberated, free from the material perplexities. One should note very carefully that one who is not active in Krishna consciousness is losing himself in the material whirlpool, in the ocean of birth and death. No conditioned soul actually knows what is to be done and what is not to be done. But a person who acts in Krishna consciousness is free to act because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed by the spiritual master. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana Sarakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So what we have on the board here are pictures that I'm sure are not too unfamiliar to a lot of us. This is just to illustrate the difficulties, one of the difficulties of living in Ghana. But make no mistake, Ghana is a very wonderful place to be. The people are highly responsive to the books of Prabhupada that we give to them. It's a wonderful place. But this is just one example of many: overloaded vehicles, bad roads, sporadic electricity, water comes and goes, fits and starts. We got more pictures? So there's some unpredictability. The factor of predictability is there. But, okay. Oh, yes. But what turns difficulties into moments, blissful moments actually, highly rewarding moments, is a reciprocation we get from the local Ghanaian people. Some of these pictures are in Kenya, where we spent a year before going to Ghana. And actually, I think they're all no. The one on the far right is Ghana. Okay, in the center, that's the training center in Mombasa, Kenya, on the east coast. And Keshava Priya here distributing a book to somebody right at the beach of Mombasa. Mombasa was actually a place in Kenya that Prabhupada spent some time, and he absolutely loved it. Okay, this is Pastor Austin, who's getting a book from me, also in Mombasa. The center is the market, where you get a huge variety of fresh vegetables and fruits. The right side, again, is in the training center. This is just one of the pictures of me posing with somebody who took a book. Again, now we're back in Ghana at one of our two major distribution points, Amasaman. It's right opposite the immigration hospital and a government hospital, immigration office and a government hospital. And we find a lot of people come up with a genuine sense of curiosity about books. In the center picture, this is the school, Lord Krishna's Academy. It's about 100 meters away from ISKCON Temple. And these are just some of the children. Okay?
Yeah, so what really struck me as a Danish citizen is that when my husband invited me to Ghana, that I thought that he said that please come and help these people. Many of the children have only one meal a day in the school. It's a local school, interfaith, with 50% Christian families and 10% Muslim families and 30-40% Hare Krishna families. But they all come for Guru Puja and Diti greeting every day, all like 100 kids. And they have such an energy and enthusiasm for chanting Hare Krishna. So in the middle here, you see the school, it looks like a cow barn. And so what I realized through all these years, we have been there now for 3 years, you look at these guys, they are just like, we made a Christmas evening, Hare Krishna evening for them. And I asked them to buy a present for each other. They bought a present for 10 crowns. And they were so proud to come home and show their present to their parents. And they all said that this is the best Christmas party in their life. So in Ghana, if you walk down the street and you forget to greet the lady on the road, she may be just selling some few vegetables, few tomatoes, potatoes, and if you forget to greet her, then her elderly daughter will come running after you and say, excuse me, you didn't greet my mom, you see, and then you have to go back and greet that lady. So we just read yesterday, my husband and me, that in Japan, for example, for 52 people, they commit suicide every day, and I think, how many?
76,000 die alone every year.
76,000 dies every year alone, and they're just rotting in an apartment before somebody finds them. So we know here we have many Indians, Nepalese, like from Bangladesh in our community, and so you're all coming from very tight family ties, and of course we also have many beautiful, wonderful families in Denmark. It's just that the statistics shows that in Denmark we have 860,000 people taking pharmaceutical, antidepressive medicine daily, right? And an equal amount is drinking too much alcohol. So what I experienced in Ghana is that I just felt that in spite of having so little material facilities, the electricity not working 8 hours a day, and no light bulbs in the school, yeah, and the rain coming in, they are just like so carefree and living in the moment. So that is why I thought that we have this verse here from Bhagavad Gita, Nihabi kramo nasusti pratyavayuna vidyate svarvamabhyasadharma shatrayate matubayat. So Krishna is saying that in this endeavor of devotional service, there is no loss or diminution, and even a small advancement on this path can protect you from the most dangerous type of fear. So what is the most dangerous type of fear? Out of 8,400,000 species of life, now we have this human form of life. The Vedas said, Atatu Brahma Jigyasa. Now we have this human form of life. After going up and down in so many species since time immemorial, right? It is so easy to become too attached to your cat or your dog or whatever. We saw in the life of Bharat Maharaj in the Bhagavatam, 5th canto, he was a king and he gave it all up, just like somebody goes to the washroom and flush the toilet. But he went to the Gandaki river, Bharat Maharaj, and he was sitting there with his Sharagam Shila, and he was worshipping and seeing Vishnu inside of the Shila. Actually, Prabhupada, he said that when you worship Sharagam Shila, you can put a fluid to their Shila because it's actually Krishna inside. Prabhupada, he saw Krishna inside of the Sharagam Shilas. But anyhow, Bharat Maharaj, who we have the whole Bharatvarsha, the Indian continent, named after, he was a huge king over the whole world. And he gave up all his ministers, his wife, his family, their horses, millions and billions of dollars worth. And he went to the Gandaki River in the end of your life. That was expected of the king in former times. They ruled the citizens, and in the end, they gave up everything and went to perform self-realization. So it is very, very dangerous to become too attached to material things. Here we can see how the living entity, and we can all remember when we were just small, we just came out from the body of our mothers, and then after a few years we learned to walk, we we learned to talk, we were in school, university, and so on, how the soul is inside of the body and is transmigrating from youth, from boyhood to youth and to old age. And, okay, I don't have that. But it's just very, very dangerous, and the life is passing by like a moment. So here we have these two kittens. Yeah?
What we have here is a cat holding a kitten in its mouth and a cat holding a rat in its mouth. Now, we all know which of the two is the most comfortable. It's the baby kitten, because the kitten feels comforted, secure in the mouth of the mother. For the rat, the cat represents death. Which brings us to second verse in the 18th chapter. 1878, if you like. Got that? Yatra Yogeshvara Krishna, Yatra Parto Danurdara, Tatra Silvijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Mitir Nitir Matir Mama. When we think about devotees in a state, I need that. I need that. When we think about devotees who are in a state of spiritual consciousness, they are completely free of fear. In fact, it is said that what drives the stock market is the principle of fear and greed. So if we look at the life of somebody, a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, he was unaffected by these qualities of fear and greed. So he was able to walk around freely in the material world, accomplish what he did because he experienced Krishna's presence in his life. Prabhupada said, never was there a time when I was not in touch with Krishna. So he attained that state because of his practice of Krishna consciousness. So, yeah, he's referred to as Abai. We all know Abai meaning fearless. Just a few notes here. Yes, Prabhupada said that if I get $1 million in the morning, I will spend it by evening, and the next day I will come looking for more money, because he used everything he had in the service of a spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So just to get back to what Keshava Priya was saying, the people in Ghana, they all believe in God. It doesn't matter what denomination they're coming from or what hardships they're undergoing, they all believe in God. You ask them, how are you today? They said, by God's grace, everything is going well, even though they may not even know how they're going to feed the family the following day. So preaching is very, very easy in Ghana, and we look forward to getting there. We have a vehicle for 5 pastors, a Toyota Hilux, and we go around, and we hope to go into different villages and bring Prabhupada's books with us. So, yeah, people in Ghana is a very religious country. Everybody acknowledges their faith in God, and they accept his existence. So this is something that makes preaching in Africa very, very easy. Unfortunately, Ghana was known as a gold coast many, many years ago because there was a lot of gold, but it's also known for having a huge amount of pastors. Actually, 1 out of every 5 person is a pastor. And if they're not a pastor, then they're an apostle. And if they're not an apostle, they're a prophet. So everybody who has any kind of religious appreciation or understanding or tendencies, they like to give themselves an appointment within the church. So it really is a wonderful place to be. And we'll be going back there in November. And we have a large supply of books in our house. And we're just counting the days until we can get a chance to go back. Part 2.
Yeah, so this fearfulness, the fearful situation, like this unpredictable kind of lives that we experience in different situations in life. Like for me, to travel with my husband in a car in Ghana, where, Ghana is like India was 40 years ago, and the roads, they have potholes, and there are no lights. Swimming pools, not potholes, swimming pools. And you go after book distribution, you really, really have to chant good rounds. It's like a good opportunity to really dive deep, like we are saying, because you simply don't know. Our car has broken down like countable times, and if we go on a Totro, a local bus, you can be sure it's breaking down 2-3 times.
And everyone is a mechanic.
And in Ghana, everyone is a mechanic. When you break down, they all come running to fix your car. They fix one part, and then you can be sure next day they took something out that they shouldn't in order for...
Disconnected something.
or disconnect or something. We had fires in our car so many times, yeah. So, but when we go back to Bhagavatam and our Vaishnava history, we see so many wonderful examples described in the Bhagavatam, like Draupadi, who got stripped or disrobed by Dushashan. We all know the story when Draupadi was like put on the dice, like the gambling match between Sakuni and Yudhishthira, and she was lost. And then one of the Kurus, Dushashan, the brother of Duryodhana, he came and he started pulling off her sari because she was the most beautiful young lady at that time. And he pulled and pulled and pulled her sari, and she was just a lady, yeah, and he was a big warrior who could fight with thousands and 10,000 elephants, actually, it said, the Maharati. So Draupadi tried to keep her arms around. She looked in the big assembly house, and she didn't get any support from her husband. She looked to Bhishma Dev, she looked to all the King Dhritarashtra. There was just no one who came forward to protect her, also not her 5 husbands, because they lost her. So in the end, she just kept on with her own 2 hands to her sari that was being pulled off her. And at that time, it was such a disgrace for a woman even to show her face in public, what to speak of being disrobed. So in the end, Draupadi, she could feel she was helpless, and she pulled both of her arms in the air, and then she called, Govinda, help, Govinda. And then Krishna, who was in Dwaraka with his 16,108 queens, he heard Draupadi's sincere prayer, sincere cry, and he immediately expanded himself as unlimited sari. And Draupadi was, her chastity and her dignity was saved. In the same way, we have the story of Gajendra. He was the king of the elephants, a herd of elephants, and he was up in the Chikuta mountain, and in these big, big lakes, he was there with his numerous wives and children, playing and just drinking the crystal clear water, sprinkle it, and having the life of an elephant, a lot of fun. And then suddenly the crocodile of time came and snatched his leg. And Gajendra, he fought with the crocodile for 10,000 years. And he became more and more weak because the crocodile was in the water, and Gajendra was just an animal of the land. So he became more and more weak. And when he was so weak and exhausted, he suddenly remembered some prayers he had composed in his life as Indradyumna Maharaj in his previous life. And he grabbed a lotus flower with his trunk, and then he took the lotus flower up in the sky, and he started reciting these transcendental prayers of verses. And then Vishnu came riding on Garuda, on his Garuda carrier, and he took his Sudarshan chakra and cut off the head of the crocodile. So, and Gajendra, by being touched by the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his original form, as forearm Vishnu form, it manifested. So we can see the importance of remembering, learning just a few prayers. If you don't learn and remember any prayer, at least in your life, learn to listen to the Hare Krishna mantra. It is so simple. It's a Maha mantra for this age. And if you also can learn a few other verses, then if we at the time of death, Yam yam vapis marambavam chachatinti kalevaram tam tam evaiti kauntya sarasabhava bhavitaha. Krishna is saying that whatever state of being we remember at the time the soul leaves the body, that kind of body we will attain in our next life. So the soul, together with the subtle body, the mind and the intelligence, will go into another body together with the super soul. And you will take the form that you were attracted to at the time of death. That is why it's said in the Vedas that at the time of death, you will see a movie in front of you where all the pictures, like you have a hard disk, and all the pictures you have accumulated, that you have seen, that you have let into your mind, they will come through your mind at the time of death. And whatever you have most attraction for, that state of mind, you will leave your body. That is why Bharat Maharaj, he gave up everything first, but then he became attracted to a small deer. And when he was looking for the deer in the forest, he suddenly fell down in a big hole and left his body. And his mind was absorbed in that little deer. So it is very, very dangerous to become too attached to anything material. It doesn't mean that we should not show a natural affection for our family members and near and dear ones and each other as a community. But it really shows that we cannot allow our mind in this life not to become, first of all, attracted to either Krishna in his form of Gopal, two-armed form of Krishna playing the flute with Radha and Krishna, or the Vishnu forms, because that will protect us all from the most dangerous type of fear. Yeah.
Questions, people?
We would like to ask if you have any questions, like it can be about Ghana, it can be about these difficulties, how these difficulties like challenges in our lives, in your life. Sometimes we can be so much in anxiety that it's difficult for us just to sit down with a peaceful mind and chant. Do you agree on that? Sometimes it's not so easy to chant. How many have difficulty in chanting Hare Krishna the first round? Only 2 people. Wow, you are great. I am first starting hearing the mantra a little bit after 4 or 5 rounds, but yes. So does anyone have any questions they would like to ask?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class. I'm really scared to speak in the mic. As you said that sometimes we get really anxious when chanting. It happens to me quite often. When I'm chanting, in between the chants, I just feel like my heartbeat is so fast, and if I don't stop chanting, there's just too many things on my mind, and I just couldn't control. I just couldn't continue to chant. I do it anyway, but sometimes it's really hard to just keep chanting, and then I have to stop for time, just take some breath, or just try to breathe. So, is there any way I can just deal with it like in a peaceful way, so I can find a little bit peace? in my chanting and do it a little better.
I was just going to say, chanting is very good for normalizing high blood pressure and other physical ailments as well. Actually, just keep chanting. From what my experience, one time somebody told Prabhupada, when I chant, I see a white light. And Prabhupada said, keep chanting, it will go away, right? So we just have to push through. That's.
And my experience is that especially in the beginning, like now we will have a group chanting. And what I have seen from pictures, when I follow you all, when we are in Ghana, I see pictures. And I see actually many, many devotees here, aspiring devotees, chanting very sincerely. So when we are together with others, and you listen, and the feeling that we are in it together, yeah, because sometimes you have just put your child to rest, or just finished dinner, or you read something disturbing in the news, and it's very difficult to distance your mind from that. But if you have a human being close to you, many devotees, of course, also chant together with hearing Srila Prabhupada's chanting. And in many temple rooms, we also have that going on, and in private houses. But what I have seen in the beginning, I was always sitting with a new person and chanting a round or two together. And then after some time, the mind cools down. It's also fine to have the Hare Krishna mantra written in front of you, because Krishna is not different from his name, and to look at it, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah, so that I would suggest that get yourself come together, if you, I don't know, your family member or a girlfriend like that. That is really, and you will also see that when yesterday there was a young girl who stopped me outside the temple, and she said she has difficulty in reading. She said, I read on the first chapter, I opened the book, and I think it was Bhagavad Gita. She said, there are so many names. My God, there are so many names. I just closed the book again. I cannot understand anything. And then I told her that our Danda Niji sitting here and myself, we used to meet at a quiet place together and sit and read together, And then we would explain what is a battlefield of Kurukshetra, who are all these names, what family do they come from, read together. And these people, like it said, whoever eats together stays together. But I would say, really, in our ISKCON society, in this 45 years I've been here, whoever reads together and chants together, stay together. Yes. So please, yeah. So I think that we have to stop now and then make that into practice. And if you, I think Achyuta Lila Mataji will go around and give everybody a Java Mala, and we can chant together and see if it helps when we are in it. Hare Krishna.